The early morning sun spilled over the rolling cassava fields, painting the dew-kissed leaves in silver. Amara Okoye stood barefoot on the soft soil, the smell of damp earth clinging to her senses. She was 22, with bright eyes that carried both youth and determination. The farm wasn't just land, it was her heartbeat. Every corner held memories of her late mother, Mama Ifeoma, who had taught her how to plant yam tendrils and sing to the rhythm of the hoe. "Morning, Papa," she called, spotting Chief Okoye sharpening a cutlass under the mango tree. He grunted, barely looking at her. "You should be preparing for school, not running around this farm." Amara smiled, undeterred. "Papa, you know I'll study agriculture only to bring new ideas back here. Imagine drip irrigation, mechanized planting. We can make this farm bigger than just survival." Her father sighed. "Dreams don't feed debts." That word, debts, made Amara pause. He rarely spoke of money. She brushed it off, thinking it was just his usual gruffness. But as she walked back through the farmhouse, her mother's old photo on the wall seemed to watch her. Something in the air felt uneasy. Foreshadowing had begun. It started with whispers. Late night calls her father would step outside to take. Unfamiliar men arriving in polished SUVs, shaking hands quickly before disappearing. Amara noticed the shadows under her father's eyes, his restless pacing. At dinner one evening, she asked, "Papa, who are those men coming to the farm?" He dropped his spoon with a clang. "You ask too many questions, Amara. Focus on your studies." But silence only deepened her suspicions. That night, she confided in Chinedu, her childhood friend and confidant. They sat on the back porch, watching fireflies. "Something's wrong," Amara whispered. "Papa's hiding something big. I can feel it." Chinedu frowned. "You think he's in trouble?" She nodded slowly. "Trouble that might swallow us all." In truth, Chief Okoye was drowning. His gambling addiction had caught up with him, loan sharks wanted their money. And the only asset he had to bargain with was the land Amara thought was her safe haven. The cracks were widening. One hot afternoon, Amara went into her late mother's wooden cabinet, where important family documents were kept. The brown folder marked farm deed was gone. Her stomach twisted. She stormed outside. "Papa, where's Mama's deed?" Chief Okoye froze. For a second, guilt flashed in his eyes. Then he hardened. "It's none of your business." "None of my business. Mama left that for us, me, Chika, and Ibube. You can't just—" "Enough!" he roared, slamming his hand on the table. "I am still the head of this family." Tears stung her eyes. She ran to Chinedu's compound, breathless. "The deed is missing. I think Papa's planning something." Chinedu gripped her hand. "Amara, you need to be careful. If your father sold the farm—" "No," she whispered, shaking her head fiercely. "He wouldn't. He couldn't." But deep down, fear told her otherwise. It happened on a Saturday morning. Amara woke to the distant rumble of engines. Rushing outside, she saw men in yellow helmets measuring the cassava field. A bulldozer idled nearby. "What is happening here?" she shouted. One man smirked. "We're just preparing for the new project. Ask your father." She spun to find Chief Okoye standing with a tall, broad man in a designer suit, Mr. Dyke. "Papa," her voice trembled. "What's going on?" Chief Okoye cleared his throat. "Amara, I sold the farm. To secure our future." Her knees buckled. "You what?" Mr. Dyke smiled smoothly. "Don't worry, my dear. I'll turn this land into something greater than your little crops. Estates, businesses, real progress." Amara's voice broke. "This land is Mama's blood. How could you, without telling me?" Her father looked away, shame flickering in his eyes. But the contract was already signed. The ground beneath Amara felt like it had collapsed. The news spread like wildfire. Neighbors murmured. Workers stared at Amara with pity. She stood in the middle of the fields, clutching soil in her hands, tears running down her face. Her father tried to justify himself. "You'll thank me later, Amara. This deal pays off my debts." It saves us. Saves us, she spat, voice trembling. You destroyed us. You sold Mama's soul for your greed. Chief Okoye's face hardened. I did what I had to do. That night, Amara locked herself in her room, staring at her mother's picture. Mama, she whispered through sobs, they've taken everything from us. But I swear I'll fight. Even if I stand alone. Chinedu found her the next morning. You're not alone. We'll fight together. Her resolve solidified. What started as betrayal was about to ignite into war. And Amara vowed, the battle for the farm had just begun. The eviction notice came like a hammer blow. 2 weeks. That was all the Okoye family had left before Mr. Dyke's men would reclaim the land. Amara stood on the porch as uniformed enforcers posted the paper on their door. Her younger brother, Ibube, clutched her arm. Sister, are they really going to throw us out? She swallowed hard, hiding her tears. Not if I can stop them. But the bulldozers roared louder each day. The cassava fields that once waved proudly in the wind were being flattened into barren soil. On moving day, Amara dragged her last suitcase out of the farmhouse. She turned to see Mr. Dyke standing by a sleek black SUV, smiling smugly. Don't look so heartbroken, my dear. Change is the price of progress, he said. Amara's voice was sharp. This isn't progress. It's theft. He laughed softly. The law disagrees with you. And the law, my dear, is on my payroll. As the family left their home, Amara made a silent vow. If he wants a war, I'll give him one. Homeless but determined, Amara began digging through her mother's old belongings at her aunt's house. Old files, receipts, even faded letters. And then, she found it. A handwritten note from a lawyer addressed to Mama Ifeoma. As the co-owner of the Okoye farm, your name remains binding on all future transactions. Any sale must require your heir's consent. Amara's heart raced. She was her mother's heir. And she had never signed anything. She ran to Chinedu, shoving the letter into his hands. This means the sale is illegal, she exclaimed. Chinedu's brow furrowed. If this holds up in court, you can challenge everything. Her eyes burned with new fire. Then that's exactly what I'll do. But she also knew what it meant, going up against a man with money, power, and influence. Mr. Dyke wouldn't just roll over. He would fight. Still, Amara had something more dangerous than wealth. She had justice on her side. To prepare for battle, Amara dug deeper into who Mr. Dyke really was. And what she found chilled her blood. He wasn't just buying her family's farm. He had acquired half the farmland in the area, planning to bulldoze them all for a sprawling luxury estate, Golden City. At a community meeting, Amara stood and addressed the villagers. If he takes this land, we lose everything. The soil that feeds our children, the jobs that sustain our families, gone. And for what? So strangers can live in mansions while we starve. Some villagers murmured agreement. Others whispered doubt. Mr. Dyke had promised them jobs, paved roads, and development. Mr. Dyke himself arrived, striding into the gathering with a confident smile. Don't be misled by this girl, he said. I offer you the future. She offers you poverty. Amara's fists clenched. No. I offer freedom. I offer the right to keep what belongs to us. The line was drawn. Just when Amara thought she had a fighting chance, another truth surfaced. At the village square, she overheard 2 men gossiping. Chief Okoye didn't just sell the farm. Dyke paid him extra to keep quiet about the estate plans. Her chest tightened. She confronted her father that night. Papa, tell me it isn't true. His silence was answer enough. You took bribes, her voice cracked. You didn't just betray Mama, you betrayed me. Chief Okoye's shoulders sagged. Amara, I was desperate. They would have killed me if I didn't give them something. Her anger flared. So you sold us out to save yourself? The words stung him deeply. He tried to reach for her, but she pulled away. I can forgive many things, Papa. But I can't forgive you helping the man who destroyed us. For the first time in her life, Amara felt completely alone. Even from her own blood alone wasn't enough to win. Amara knew she needed allies. So she began rallying the people. She went from house to house, pleading with farmers and laborers. This land is more than soil. It's survival. If we let him take it, none of us will have a future. Her passion lit sparks. Soon, small groups gathered at the square. Young men, women, elders, listening. Chinedu filmed her fiery speeches and posted them online. Within days, hashtags spread across social media. Hashtag Save Our Farm, hashtag FarmDaughter. The story caught fire. Local radio stations interviewed her. Newspapers printed her photo. For the first time, she wasn't just a grieving daughter, she was becoming a movement. But with attention came danger. At a rally one evening, a brick was hurled at her feet with a note, "Stop now, or you won't live to see your farm again." She picked up the note, trembling but unyielding. Turning to the crowd, she raised her fist. "They want to scare me. But I am not afraid." The crowd roared. The fight had officially begun. The courthouse in Enugu buzzed with whispers as Amara walked in, head held high. She wore her mother's old Ankara scarf, a silent symbol of strength. Behind her, villagers filled the benches, some in support, others curious to see if the farm girl could actually stand against a tycoon like Mr. Dyke. Her lawyer, Barrister Adeobi Nwafor, was young but sharp, known for fighting corporate injustice. "Amara, this won't be easy," she said quietly. "Dyke's legal team is ruthless. But we have truth on our side." At the front, Mr. Dyke sat in a navy suit, flanked by 3 senior lawyers, all smug. When the judge entered, the room fell silent. Barrister Adeobi opened, "My lord, the sale of the Okoye farm is invalid. The deed clearly tied ownership to the late Mrs. Ifeoma Okoye, whose heir, my client, was never consulted. Without her consent, the sale is void." Dyke's lawyer smirked. "Objection. The father, Chief Okoye, is the rightful custodian. His consent was enough." The judge raised an eyebrow. "We'll see." The battle had begun. The case split the village in two. Some supported Amara fiercely, marching with placards, "Our land, our right." Others whispered that she was holding back development. At the market, an elder confronted her. "Amara, this fight will bring us nothing but shame. Dyke is offering jobs and roads. Why stop him?" She clenched her jaw. "What use are jobs if they destroy our livelihood? Will we eat cement blocks?" But cracks formed even among her allies. Some feared Dyke's influence. Some accepted his money under the table. At night, Amara overheard villagers muttering that she was too stubborn and would ruin everything. One evening, she broke down to Chinedu. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm dragging everyone down with me." Chinedu grabbed her shoulders. "Listen to me. You are fighting for all of us, even those who don't see it yet. Don't let doubt break you." His words steadied her, but the weight of leadership pressed heavily on her young shoulders. While the case raged on, Amara's father grew weaker. One night, she rushed him to the hospital after he collapsed. In the dim ward, he reached for her hand with trembling fingers. "Amara, my daughter. I failed you." She swallowed hard, tears welling. "Papa, why? Why sell Mama's land? Why betray us?" His eyes glistened. "I was drowning in debt. Men threatened me. I thought selling was the only way. But when Dyke offered bribes, I took them. I am ashamed." Amara turned away, shaking with anger and sorrow. "Forgive me," he whispered, coughing violently. "I never meant to break Mama's legacy. I only wanted to survive." Her heart twisted. She wanted to scream, to hate him forever. But seeing him frail, she also saw his fear, his desperation. "I can't forgive you now," she whispered, voice trembling. "But maybe one day." His tears rolled silently. For the first time, Amara saw not a stern father, but a broken man. As Amara gained traction, Dyke's intimidation escalated. One evening, she returned from court to find her aunt's house vandalized, windows smashed, walls spray-painted with the words, "Stop or else." At night, footsteps lurked outside. Strange calls buzzed her phone. Chinedu confronted her one morning. "Amara, they're targeting you. This isn't safe. Maybe you should back down. Her eyes blazed. If I back down, Dyke wins. Mama loses. The farm dies. I can't. That night, 2 men cornered her on a deserted road. Drop the case, girl. You can't win against Dyke. Her heart raced, but she stood firm. Tell Dyke I don't scare easily. They shoved her to the ground before disappearing into the dark. Shaken but unbroken, Amara rose, brushing the dust off her clothes. Fear gnawed at her, but her resolve grew stronger. If Dyke wanted war, he would get it. In the chaos, Barrister Adeabi found a breakthrough. While digging through dusty files at the land registry, she uncovered a clause buried deep in the original deed. It read, "The consent of the widow's heir is mandatory for any transfer of ownership." Adeabi's eyes widened. This was the golden ticket. When she presented it to Amara, her jaw dropped. So, the sale was never valid? Adeabi nodded. Exactly. Without your signature, the contract is worthless. This is our smoking gun. Amara's heart pounded. Then we can win. But Adeabi warned her. Dyke won't go down without a fight. Expect him to pull every string he has left. In court, when Adeabi presented the clause, the room erupted in gasps. Dyke's lawyers scrambled, objecting furiously, but the judge's interest sharpened. For the first time, the balance shifted in Amara's favor. The girl who had once been silenced was now the voice shaking an empire. The final day of the trial drew a crowd so large that people spilled outside the courthouse gates. Reporters, villagers, curious onlookers, everyone wanted to witness the showdown between a poor farmer's daughter and a powerful businessman. Amara sat in the front row, her hands trembling slightly. Chinedu squeezed her palm. Breathe, Amara. Today is yours. When the judge entered, the room fell into silence. Dyke's lead lawyer, a seasoned silk, stood first. My lord, this so-called clause is outdated. The father was the custodian, and he alone had the right to sell. My client acted within the law. Barrister Adeabi rose, her voice sharp. Outdated. No, my lord. This clause is binding. The law protects heirs from fraudulent disposals. And my client, Amara Okoye, was deliberately excluded. She handed the judge the original deed. Murmurs rippled through the courtroom. Then, in a dramatic twist, Adeabi called Chief Okoye to the stand. Frail but determined, he confessed. Yes. I sold the farm without Amara's knowledge. I took bribes. I betrayed my daughter. Gasps filled the air. Amara's eyes welled with tears, but his honesty cut through the lies. The judge leaned forward. This court will deliberate. But I assure you, justice will be served. The tension was unbearable. The whole community waited, breath held, for the verdict. The gavel struck. The courtroom froze. The sale of the Okoye farm is hereby declared null and void. The land legally belongs to Amara Okoye, heir of the late Ifeoma Okoye. The room exploded in cheers. Supporters leaped to their feet, chanting Amara's name. Reporters swarmed, snapping photos of the young woman who had brought a tycoon to his knees. Amara's hands shook as she hugged her lawyer. We did it. Chinedu grinned. You did it. You stood your ground. At the back, Dyke stormed out, his face twisted in rage. His empire had cracked, and his humiliation was public. Amara turned to the crowd, lifting her mother's scarf high. This victory isn't mine alone. It belongs to every farmer, every family who refuses to be silenced. The hall shook with applause. For the first time since her mother's death, Amara felt at peace. The farm was hers again. But winning the land back was only the beginning. When Amara returned to the farm, her joy was quickly pierced by sorrow. The fields were scarred, trees uprooted, soil flattened by heavy machines. The farmhouse was in ruins. She knelt, letting the dirt fall through her fingers. We'll bring you back, she whispered. Chinedu rallied volunteers. Old workers returned, ready to rebuild. Together, they cleared debris, replanted crops, and repaired the farmhouse. Amara introduced innovations she had studied at university: drip irrigation, improved seedlings, and cooperative models. Slowly, green shoots returned to the land. One evening, as the sun dipped low, children ran through the fields, laughing as they carried baskets of fresh cassava. Amara smiled, exhausted but fulfilled. "This," she said to Chinidu, "is what Mama dreamed of." The farm was no longer just survival, it was rebirth. Word spread of Amara's triumph. Local news turned into national headlines. "Farm daughter defeats billionaire," one paper blared. Invitations poured in, from agricultural conferences, women empowerment summits, even government programs. On stage at a youth conference, Amara stood tall. "They told me I was too small to fight. They told me my voice didn't matter. But today, I stand here to tell you, protect what you love, no matter who stands against you." The crowd roared with applause. Back home, the farm had transformed. It became a model for sustainable agriculture, employing youth, empowering women, and feeding countless families. Chief Okoye, though weak, visited often. Watching his daughter address workers, pride and guilt mingled in his heart. "Your mother would be proud," he whispered. Amara's journey had gone beyond saving her farm. She had become a symbol of resistance and hope. Years later, Amara walked through the lush, thriving fields. The air buzzed with life, green cassava leaves swayed, farmers sang as they worked, and children played barefoot in the soil. By her side, her young niece tugged her hand. "Auntie Amara, tell me the story again. How did we almost lose the farm?" Amara smiled softly, her eyes glistening as she looked at her mother's old photo hanging in the farmhouse. "We almost lost it because of greed and fear. But we fought back. And we won. Never forget, child, the land is life. Protect it with all you have." As she stood overlooking the fields, her voice carried on the wind. "They thought they bought my land. But what they really bought was my fire to fight." The camera would fade on her silhouette against the golden sunset, fields stretching endlessly behind her. The farm was not just land anymore. It was legacy. It was victory. It was her story.